How do we get back into a better position? How do we get from here to where we want to be?
It depends a bit what you mean by where we want to be, but obviously the pandemic will eventually be over. Now, it's difficult to give exact dates, but let's say based on what we know from previous, let's say, influenza pandemics, which by many aspects actually are epidemiologically kind of have similarities, I think we have to brace ourselves for possibly a very difficult winter, possibly another wave in the spring, and then I would say plus or minus a few months, I think the pandemic phase of COVID-19 should be over by, let's say, mid-end of next year, 2021. And this, interestingly, well...
Are you counting on a vaccine doing that, or are you counting on... how do you get that? Or do you then say it just becomes one of the kind of seasonal coronaviruses like all the others?
Yeah, maybe not like all the others, because the other four are actually very mild. I think it will take a while for us to acquire the kind of population immunity that really, let's say, most people have been exposed, and let's say it really goes down to... It's not just coronavirus. We have something like 200 respiratory viruses in circulations, all sorts of viruses, which to someone who is not healthy, or let's say someone who's immunocompromised, or the elderly, or sometimes children, can actually be pretty unpleasant, though we sometimes forget. Typically, for instance, it's just a bit of a, let's say, typically, for instance, mortalities and outbreaks in elderly care homes is nothing new. Let's say they happen all the time. They've always happened. Now, obviously, COVID kind of amplified these, but let's say it's really nothing new. But to go back to, I want to be very careful here. I don't want to make very strong predictions, but let's say my guess is that the kind of pandemic phase of COVID-19 will kind of fizzle out next year towards the summer, or maybe slightly later. That doesn't mean there won't be, let's say, little outbreaks and so on. And then it will, in all likelihood, become endemic. So essentially, yes, there will be cases. And there will be cases probably for a very long time. We'll just join one of the many viruses in circulation. How long it will take actually to really it to be one we can not worry more than all the others, that might take a while. So it will obviously not from one day to the next. Maybe it might even be difficult for us to say, oh, the pandemic is over, because there will always be cases of outbreak, but at some point it will just decrease and decrease.
What is it that we should think about